Why does princess treatment seem to always find certain women but somehow consistently evades you? Aren't you tired of scrolling through social media and watching other women get the things that you couldn't even dream of receiving from a man? But what if I told you the biggest misconception you've ever had is that you can't receive that kind of treatment because you don't look like those women? Stay with me. We're going to discuss 10 reasons why you don't receive princess treatment from men. And you'll be shocked to learn that all this time you didn't even need to change the way you look to change the way you get treated. Our first reason being about selection, because if you go wrong here, nothing else will go right. Let me explain to you what I mean. In a group of men, right, all the different men that you could possibly date in the entire world, there will be two different types that you could meet as it relates to princess treatment. You will meet some men who say to themselves, well, I don't think of women as valuable. I think of women as objects. I just want to sleep with them, use them, take advantage of them, and that's all they're good for: cooking, cleaning, making me a sandwich. I am not interested in giving those women princess treatment because I don't even value them enough in my own mind, whether it be because of my trauma, whether it be because of the situations I've been through, whatever the case. I don't value women enough to treat them like princesses, any woman. So whether I'm dating Jennifer Lopez, I'm not treating her like a princess. If I was dating Beyonce, I'm not treating her like a princess. If I was dating Jennifer Hudson, Jennifer Aniston, I'm not treating her like a princess, okay? So I want you to understand that is an archetype. That is a type of man that you could meet as it relates to princess treatment. You're not going to be able to convince those men that you deserve this particular type of treatment if their already existing disposition before they've even met you is that women don't deserve that treatment from them because they don't perceive women to be valuable or deserving of that treatment, or they don't even think that's what they should be doing for women, okay? Your job is not to argue with those men, because you're never going to meet a man and change his perception of life. I always try to remind you guys of that on my show. Your job is to figure out what's important to you. What are you looking for? What type of treatment do you want? And figure out within this large, vast pool of men that you could be dating, how to find the ones with the already existing disposition that works for you in a relationship. Now, in this case, I'd be referring to the type of men that have the disposition that, hey, I want to treat my woman like a princess. I want to take care of my woman. I want to be her knight in shining armor. I want to do things for her. I want to make sure that she's always okay, right? And happy wife, happy life. Those men, before they ever met you, will already have that existing disposition because of their experiences, because of what they've been through, because of their mindset. I want you to focus all of your energy, especially in this very first reasoning, in finding those men. Because if you're making the mistake of going about your life by thinking, oh, well, any man I meet will give me princess treatment, you're completely wrong. Every man you meet is not going to be capable or willing to give you princess treatment. And it's not your job to try to convince him or show him through your actions or the way that you dress or anything that you do that you're worthy of that princess treatment. So if you're not doing the job of pre-selecting men who already have this ideology and this concept within their mind as their own foundation, then you're already making a mistake. Our reason number 2 is about clarity, because if you make the mistake of not allowing your relationship to have a clear understanding of what it is, where it's going, and where it has been, you're going to be missing out on princess treatment for a long time. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. See, in a regular relationship, if a man says, I want to take this serious, I want to take you seriously, and I want to take building a relationship seriously. So while we might not be dating right now, everything that we're doing while going on dates is to eventually lead up to the event in which we'll become boyfriend and girlfriend. My goal here is to eventually be married. Even though we're not engaged right now, that's the ultimate goal, and that's what I'm hoping that we're working towards, right? That's what should be happening in a serious relationship, when a man is taking you seriously. In that circumstance and under that umbrella and under that understanding that both of you have, it's a lot easier for him to treat you as a princess because he values you as such. I'm going to discuss a concept that you're going to notice a theme of in terms of men's perception of you being aligned to how they choose to treat you. When a man goes into a situation with the clear understanding that I'm here for the destination of marriage or for the destination of us becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, and he treats you as such because your relationship falls under that particular umbrella, and there's clarity about what the relationship actually is, then what ends up happening is you get to get treated as the princess that you want to be. But the thing that a lot of you are suffering from that don't receive princess treatment is that you fall between one of these two categories. Either it's kind of like, man, we're not really dating for real to become serious and get married because no pressure, but at the same time, you know, we're not really necessarily just friends with benefits. It's kind of like in between, right? And what ends up happening is because there's no defined boundaries or clarity or expectations in this relationship or where this relationship is supposed to be heading towards, you end up sometimes getting treated like a priority and sometimes experiencing some of the things that you would experience in a serious relationship and some versions of princess treatment. But there's other times in which you experience not being a priority and not and feeling like a second-class citizen or feeling used, much like the friends with benefits, right? And you end up in a situation where you're like, damn, I feel like I'm never able to get princess treatment from men, or I'm always getting very little, or it's here and it's there sometimes. That's because your relationship is not defined. When it's not defined, there is no set expectations of how you're supposed to be treated. See, the girlfriend or the girl who's, you know, we're dating for the purpose of you becoming my girlfriend, she gets treated the best because there's an understanding and an expectation that if I value her as such and my desire is to be with her in a serious capacity, I have to take the way I treat her seriously. Vice versa, on the opposite end of the spectrum, if it's neither, sometimes I'll take it seriously, giving her princess treatment, sometimes no. If it's friends with benefits, definitely you will feel like a second-class citizen, because me as a man, why do I bother myself with how I treat you, how I approach this relationship, and how I go about this relationship if you are not classified as someone who would be important to me to prioritize, right? I don't need to prioritize my affection to you. I don't need to prioritize your emotions. I don't need to prioritize going over the top with the things that I do for you. Why? Because I'm only here to extract from you. And in this particular case, it's to extract value from your in between your legs, okay? And in that sense, right, that's why you end up experiencing not a lot of princess treatment from men, because your relationships aren't very defined. If you're at all in this place whatsoever, if you're in anything but serious relationship, clearly defined of what our relationship is going to be, you're not going to be receiving princess treatment the way that you want to be receiving it. Now, our third reason, discouragement, is probably going to make you a little bit uncomfortable, but stay with me. We're going somewhere. We're going to use the example that, let's say your man is out at the gym and you're at home doing some work from home today. And in the process of this, he goes to the mall, he has to get some things, and he stumbles across a smoothie store that he knows you kind of like and kind of enjoy because he's seen you grab it sometimes. So he comes back home and he meets you and he says, hey, I just got a little surprise for you. You're like, what? What's the surprise? I'm so excited. I was at the mall, and while I was at the mall, I decided to stop at that smoothie store that I see you going to sometimes, and I got you a strawberry smoothie. And then you have a frown on your face because you're like, oh, this idiot, he's such an idiot. Why would you give me an idiot? And you're like, you got me the strawberry one? Yeah, I just thought it would be nice since you know you love it and you know you're working at home just to relieve your stress, and you're like, strawberry smoothie. You know I don't like strawberry as much as I like the banana one, right? And he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot. I didn't remember which one exactly you get. What a waste. And you walk over to the trash and you dump the strawberry smoothie in the trash can. Now, this might seem like a little bit of an extreme example, but sometimes in your disappointment with him not giving you the perfect thing, or in the process of him trying to go out of his way for you, maybe it's not exactly what you envisioned or exactly what you wanted. You can end up indirectly or accidentally discouraging him from continuing to give you princess treatment. So why does this end up being a reason? Because in just me being honest with you, men are going to receive that as, oh, well, I tried to go out of my way for her. I tried to do an expression in a small way, in a small gesture of giving her princess treatment, right? Because princess treatment is just a guy going above and beyond for you, really and truthfully. And in the process of him trying to go above and beyond for you in a small way, because he didn't have to get you that smoothie, he was met with discouragement, right? Even though you didn't say, stop doing things for me, stop going above and beyond for me, stop giving me princess treatment, you indirectly said, stop giving me princess treatment, because the response you gave him when he came back with the strawberry smoothie was not that of, oh, I appreciate it, I love it, thank you for the strawberry smoothie, you're so thoughtful for thinking of me while you're at the mall. It was, why would you get me this? I hate this thing. So as weird as it might sound, when the guys are now filtering that and receiving that, they're saying, oh, well, she doesn't want me to go above and beyond for her. I need to stop trying to go above and beyond for her because I will get a negative reaction from her. I know it sounds very silly and very simplistic because some of you are thinking, well, why can't he just get the right smoothie the first time? I know you want things to be perfect, but I want to help you understand how guys receive this and how this can lead to a cycle of him saying, well, instead of me forgetting which smoothie to get or getting her the wrong one or whatever the case may be, I just will stop getting her the smoothie. But see, this example is a microcosm of what will become a bigger issue. He'll start saying, anytime I think about going above and beyond for my woman, in my fear of being rejected by her or being discouraged by her or her telling me that I did the wrong thing or got the wrong thing for her, I will stop myself from going above and beyond for her because I don't want to do or say the wrong thing. And I know that sounds very silly and trivial for men to come to the conclusion of just because they got you a strawberry smoothie instead of your favorite banana smoothie. But I want you to understand how this affects men and how this begins to affect how they treat you over the course of time. So I know some of you are probably asking, well, in this scenario, what am I supposed to do? Pretend like I love the strawberry smoothie even though I really wanted a banana one? Well, you also have to see the other person's perspective. Even if the strawberry smoothie isn't your favorite smoothie, still acknowledge the act, right? Still give him the dopamine hit of saying, I am so glad that you took care of me, that you were thinking of me. Oh my God, you treat me so well. You always got me in the back of your mind. You're always trying this and trying that. Give him that good feeling. And then if you really don't like the strawberry smoothie, you can keep it in the fridge or say you're going to drink it later, say you're going to take it to the gym. And then you can just throw it out there and remind him that next time you like the banana one or something like that, right? But you still want to be able to serve him in the sense of serving yourself, because when you give him that hit and you give him that encouragement that, hey, when you go above and beyond for me, I love it. I appreciate it. You don't have to worry or fear about doing the wrong thing. I will always love even the smallest little things that you can do for me. That is what will actually encourage you to continue getting princess treatment. I think a lot of women find it easy to discourage when they're not getting exactly what they want in the exact way, or when it doesn't end up being extremely huge. So for reason number 4, we're going to talk about comparison, because this is a big one that I know a lot of women struggle with. See, sometimes when you're scrolling through Instagram, you're scrolling through Facebook or any social media whatsoever, you're going to see a whole bunch of highlights of other people's lives, especially other women, because they're going to be flexing how amazing they look, how big their dump truck is, how big their yitties are, how pretty they are, and how they're living this dream life that you've only seen on social media. And this is where it can really begin to hurt you and hurt your ability to receive princess treatment. As you're watching these women get showered with gifts by multiple men, you see all of these men thirsting over her in the comments saying, I would marry you. I'll pay for your lifestyle. I'll buy you a car. She might even be posting cars in bows that other people bought for her. Expensive gifts, expensive bags, lavish vacations. And you're sitting there like, oh my God. This girl, she's got a BBL. This girl, she's got a size 0 waist. This girl, she's got these beautiful veneers and she's got this hair that goes down to her crack. I could never look as beautiful as that woman. I could never be on the same level physically of physical beauty as that woman. Then what ends up happening is psychologically, you begin to develop what I call a limiting belief, which is that I am not worthy of the type of princess treatment that that woman I'm watching on social media receives because I don't look like her. This limiting belief begins to create a scenario in which you actually start manifesting, I don't deserve princess treatment, I don't deserve princess treatment because a guy can't be treating me the same way that I see these girls who are way prettier than me getting treated. So if a guy tries to go out of his way for me, buy me an expensive gift, buy me an expensive bag, do this for me, do that for me, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not worthy of that. You see me? I don't look like those women. I don't deserve that treatment. And I know it sounds silly, but as you begin to have that narrative playing in your mind, this girl is way prettier than me. That's why she gets this and I don't. If I look like that, maybe I would get that. But because I don't look like that, I won't be able to experience that treatment. That narrative you play in your mind will begin to manifest itself in your physical life. And exactly as you believe it, that is exactly what you will experience with men that you're dating. So in order for you to fix that, you have to realize it's not about how they look, okay? It's also about a state of being and a state of allowing yourself to say, no, I am worthy of princess treatment. I am that girl, and really believing it. That's why affirmations and self-love is so important. Because when you begin to play the narrative in your mind that, hey, I don't care how pretty this girl is. I don't care if she has a BBL or she's natural, she's got veneers or not. I am just as capable of receiving that type of treatment, admiration, that type of respect from men as she is. She's not any different than me. She poops as well, okay? If you cut her, she's gonna bleed, okay? She's gotta take showers. Hopefully she takes showers. She's just like me. If that girl is worthy of princess treatment, so am I. Just because she looks better doesn't mean that she deserves better than me. I'm telling you, that limiting belief will limit you so much from the type of treatment you receive from men, because the way that you begin to talk about yourself, your life, your expectations, the way you carry yourself will change based on what you believe that you deserve or don't deserve. Our fifth reason is about presentation of the soul. When you go out on your dates with men, I want you to understand this is so important. I really should have made this like point number one. This is so important because, like I said earlier, men are going to choose to treat you based on how they perceive you. Now, the amazing part about that is you're in control of your perception a lot more than you're actually thinking that you are. See, the narrative that you portray of yourself from the very first date, from the very first meeting, from the very first hello, is what's going to shape his perception of you. Now, in the process of his perception shaping of you, he will then choose to treat you according to how he perceives you. If he perceives you as a peasant based on the narratives and the painting that you have created, then he will treat you as a peasant. If he perceives you as a princess based on the narratives you've been painting, he will treat you as a princess, right? You are the artist of your narrative, and your narrative is your perception. Your perception will lead to the way he chooses to treat you, okay? So the reason that this is so important, if you're making the mistake of when you go out on your dates and you're not discussing very clearly and very strategically the types of things that will paint the picture that you are a princess, that could be part of the reason that you're not experiencing princess treatment. Let me give you an example. If you go out on your dates and as soon as you sit down on the date, you're like, I can't wait to tell you about how horrible my life is. My mom treats me like garbage and I sit there and I take it. My exes, every single one of my exes has cheated on me since the beginning of time. They didn't just cheat once, they cheated 80 times, okay? And all of them had 4 different girlfriends at the same time. I found out I was actually the 5th one, and my last ex, he was actually married with a family the whole... I want you to understand, during this process, you are painting a picture. You are shaping a narrative. These men are receiving that narrative and saying, oh, okay. So you are not a princess, you are a doormat. Clearly, everyone in your life treats you as a doormat. Now I'm thinking to myself, should I choose to treat her how everyone else has been choosing to treat her? Or should I be the first person who actually treats her well, despite the fact that she seems to be okay with accepting this horrible doormat treatment from everyone else in her life? And this is where things can become very dangerous for you. Because, of course, I don't expect you to lie when you go out on your dates, but I also want you to be mindful of what type of narrative, what type of painting are you creating of yourself? And ask yourself, is the way that you're painting yourself, the way that you're drawing yourself, are your artistic skills leading him to see you as a princess, or are they leading him to see you as a peasant? Nothing wrong with going through things, nothing wrong with overcoming things. In fact, it can be great to tell your stories of triumph and overcoming difficult situations. However, you do not want to make the mistake of painting yourself to be a peasant, or painting yourself to be someone who is weak, that continuously gets taken advantage of. You don't know what to do. You're always a victim of this and of that, and everyone steps on you. I'm telling you, it's not going to create the right environment in which that man is going to feel like, hey, I treat her like a princess, because that's the expectation that she has of anyone that's going to be in a relationship of her. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, guys are kind of like bandwagoners. They want to jump on the bandwagon and treat you how you've been accustomed to being treated, okay? They want to jump on the bandwagon and meet the expectation that you've already set since before you met them. They don't want to jump on the bandwagon and be like, oh, well, I'm going to be the first guy to not treat this girl like garbage. But every other guy got to cheat on her. Every other guy got to go behind her back, and she still doesn't know how to set boundaries. But I'm going to be the first one to actually say, no, I want to treat you better than that. It just doesn't work like that. So you got to make sure, if you're making this mistake of painting yourself as a peasant, that you reframe the things that you discuss on your dates. Not saying you have to lie, and not saying you have to not discuss stuff or just pretend like certain things don't exist in your life, but be very mindful of the way you frame things. Don't frame them from a victim standpoint. Even if you went through a challenging time, frame yourself as the hero. Frame yourself as someone overcoming obstacles. Frame yourself as someone learning from their mistakes to never make the same mistake again. Even as it relates to allowing people to take advantage of you or go behind your back, right? These are very important things that will lead to how they perceive you, how the guy perceives you, and then subsequently how he ends up treating you in the relationship, and whether he ends up giving you princess treatment or not. Reason number 6, some of you are gonna hate me for, but I promise I'm trying to help you. Let's get to this and I'll explain. So bare minimum is something that a lot of women will say, well, that's not princess treatment. Don't be thinking that you should congratulate or appreciate a man for that. That's the bare minimum. That's what he should be doing for you in a happy, healthy relationship. Do not validate that man. Do not acknowledge that man for doing what he's supposed to do. Here's the problem with that, okay? When you get into a scenario where you have in your mind, okay, if it's a small gesture, that's not princess treatment. If it's something that he's supposed to be doing as a man for me, it's not princess treatment. All of these small things that he could be doing throughout the day, that is not princess treatment. That's the bare minimum, Tomisin. I'm not gonna congratulate or acknowledge a man for doing the bare minimum. As time goes on, what you'll end up realizing is that the only thing you end up considering princess treatment is a big, extravagant gesture. Like, for example, he takes you out to a super fancy restaurant. He plans this thing like 3 months in advance. He gets you a brand new dress. He lays it out on the bed for you. It's like a $300 Louis Vuitton dress, and it's so sparkly. It's your perfect fit. He tells you, I'll be ready at 7. He picks you up in a Lamborghini. He takes you out to a Lamborghini to this 5-star restaurant for a $400 date, and it's so extravagant, and there's roses everywhere, and the whole place is rented out, right? I know I'm being a little bit extreme, but this is what can happen over the course of time when you continue, I guess we can say, convincing yourself that every single way that he could show his affection for you, every single way that he could give you princess treatment is really an example of the bare minimum. The reason this becomes so dangerous is because think about what this does to your mental state. It stops you from being able to appreciate really anything that goes on in the day-to-day of your relationship, because you don't think that that actually is something. So all these things, like him getting you flowers, opening the car door for you all the time, making you coffee in the mornings before you wake up, These are things that are really small gestures in nature that he could do on a daily basis, that if you can start to convince yourself that this is all the bare minimum, these things that he's doing on a daily basis won't ever feel like princess treatment. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm not receiving princess treatment from this man because all these things he's supposed to be doing for me as my man. But then what will also happen is you'll stop acknowledging or appreciating him for those things because you think they're all the bare minimum. And then after a while, your mind gets so skewed. See, this is the problem with Instagram. This is the problem with social media sometimes in the comparison. You'll start thinking only the big gestures should I consider even princess treatment. But the reality of it is, I'll just be super real with you guys, for a majority of men, taking you out to a 5-star restaurant and buying you a brand new $300 dress is not something that most men will be able to do every day. That's just the reality of life, right? Financially, it's just not feasible. And if these extreme large gestures are the only thing you can consider princess treatment or acknowledge as princess treatment, well, it's going to be a struggle for him to at all give you princess treatment if those are the only things considered princess treatment. So the reason I say that is because you have to start considering, okay, what are small ways guys can give me princess treatment that I also can acknowledge as princess treatment and not just pass everything as the bare minimum? Because remember, as I said earlier, when it came to encouragement versus discouragement, if you have the mindset that everything is the bare minimum, what do you think you're going to be doing? You think you're going to spend a lot of time encouraging him by telling him, hey, I love what you did here. I appreciate you for doing this. I appreciate you for doing that, even on a regular basis because he's doing it on a regular basis? No, you're not going to be appreciating him or encouraging him because you don't think that what he's doing is important. You don't think that what he's doing is even princess treatment. You don't think that what he's doing is even worth acknowledging, so you won't. And on an ongoing basis, all these small things that he's doing for you, as you're passing them off as the bare minimum, you'll continue not acknowledging them. And slowly but surely, he'll start asking himself, yeah, sure, maybe she considers these the bare minimum, but I don't even get any acknowledgement for doing these things because I'm supposed to be doing them. So maybe if I don't get acknowledgement for it, maybe if I stop them, nothing will happen because it doesn't seem like anything happens even when I do those things. I know it sucks to hear because some of you might realize, oh, maybe that I've kind of been doing that. Maybe I've kind of been saying to myself, everything's the bare minimum, so I shouldn't appreciate that. I promise you, do not... I don't want to be mean here. Do not let other women brainwash you into thinking the only thing I should be appreciative of or the only thing I should even acknowledge is good princess treatment is something extremely extravagant that I can post on social media. I promise you, those women are not actually trying to help you. Because if they were actually trying to help you, they would help you understand that for men, if you can appreciate the small things, it makes it so much better and easier and more exciting for us to do the big things. And I want you to be able to put yourself in a man's shoes and not let other women brainwash you into thinking if you can't put it on TikTok and you can't put it on Instagram and you can't post it on your feed, that it's not worth acknowledging and it's not worth any sort of princess treatment. Understand, a guy can actually be going out of his way for you and doing the best with what he has access to and the resources that he has, and that can still be considered princess treatment. And I promise you, if you're consistently acknowledging what others might consider the bare minimum or very small gestures, right? If you can consistently acknowledge those things on an ongoing basis as he continues to do them, you'll create a feedback loop that will end up in you getting more extravagant things because you've been appreciating and acknowledging the smaller things. Reason number 7, we're going to talk about guilt because this is something I find happens to a lot of women that have past traumas in situations like this. See, if you end up feeling very guilty anytime a guy is going out of his way for you, that you're always justifying and saying, well, no, honestly, I can't accept that gift from you. I can't accept this from you because that's too expensive. I don't want you spending that much money on me. It's just me. You don't need to spend that much money. I can't accept this. You're doing too much. That's too crazy of a gift. Now do I owe you? Do I have to do something for you? See, this feeling of, I can't accept a huge gesture. I can't accept these things because they're just too much. I can't take that. I don't need that. I'm not that important. This narrative, right, much like the other narratives that I talked about before, will also sabotage you as it relates to receiving princess treatment from men. One, you're not going to be able to give the right reaction to the princess treatment that you should be if you want to be encouraging him to give you more princess treatment. you're also painting a narrative for you and him that, hey, please, if you're gonna go out of your way, go out of your way in like a small, like minimal way. Please, no big gestures. Please, nothing too expensive, because I'm not worth that. I know you might feel like, well, I'm not actually saying that, but you are saying that just indirectly, right? You're telling him, please, if you're gonna, spend all your money on me, I don't want that, because I'm not worthy of that and I'm not that important. But what you're really saying is, hey, I'm less than other people. So you thinking that you should treat me above and beyond, I don't need above and beyond treatment, nor do I deserve that. But when you're telling a guy that, do you understand the narrative you're beginning to paint about yourself to that guy? And remember how I said guys will begin to treat you how they perceive you, especially even the guys that are at the disposition to already want to give princess treatment. You can actually turn things around from a guy who's ready to give princess treatment to a guy who says, what's the point of giving her princess treatment? She can't even accept the gift, right? She can't even accept the treatment. And when I say the gift, I don't even always mean monetary value or a physical gift. I also mean in the way that he might treat you or the gestures he might do for you, right? She can't even accept that. She's always unwilling to accept the idea that she can be treated like a princess and I can do for her just for the sake of doing for her. Now, I understand sometimes this comes from traumas of being in situations where people use certain things against you, but I want you to understand, if you're in a relationship and a man wants to do for you, it's okay to allow that man to do for you. You're not going to perish. Nothing bad's going to happen to you if you just allow your man to do for you and allow him to also play the role which naturally comes to him, which is to try and help you, try and find solutions for you, and try and go out of his way to get answers for you and to be a resource to you. Don't be scared to allow guys to be a resource to you, and stop feeling guilty for allowing men to be resources to you. And when I say resources to you, I mean like be resourceful, help you with things, find solutions for you, go out of their way for you, inconvenience themselves for you. It's okay. And it also doesn't mean that you need to do something for him. You don't need to sleep with him because he inconveniences himself for you, right? Just because he's resourceful for you, that doesn't mean now all of a sudden, okay, well, I need to get on my knees now and slurp you off, right? That doesn't mean that. And you have to understand that part of this exchange is not really, if you want to think of, oh, I need to give him something in return, I would rather you think of it like this. When he does give me princess treatment, I want to make sure I show him the appropriate amount of appreciation and acknowledgement for that princess treatment. That is what you can give him in return. You don't need to get on your knees, okay, right? You don't need to spread your legs wide open. You don't need to do a bunch of stuff for him. As long as you can acknowledge and appreciate the gesture or the gift, then it's never too much. And you never need to feel guilty about what you're giving or doing for him in return. And understanding that this process actually makes him feel good about the relationship as well. Because if he has the predisposition where he loves giving princess treatment, then when you appreciate that princess treatment, that's all the dopamine he needs for this to work well and for that feedback loop to be working properly. So for reason number 8, we're going to talk about lack. See, what you need to be doing if you're expecting princess treatment is that you cannot be in a mental state of lack. What I mean by lack is when you desire something, you're desiring it because you feel like you don't have it in your life. So when you say, I really, really want a guy to treat me like a princess, it's because you don't feel like you're necessarily being treated like a princess. So you want that from a man. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with that, but the best way to begin attracting something into your life is not to spend a whole bunch of time saying, I need this, I need that, I want this so badly, I want it so desperately. It's actually to begin living that life and putting yourself in that state of being, because at that point, it'll become so much easier to attract the type of energy that you're already existing in. Let me explain to you what I mean. I wrote down here what you can consider to be a princess list. A princess list just being, these are the type of things that you would love a man to do for you that you would really consider princess treatment. So I put down going to Nobu, getting a fancy dress, a candle lit bubble bath, maybe that's what you're into, romantic dinner, right? A vacation. All of these different things you can actually do with yourself or with a girlfriend. best girlfriend. And it doesn't have to necessarily come with a man. Now, I know some of you were like, but it's not the same if it's not with my boyfriend. It's not the same if I do it alone. Yes, sure. But what it also will do for your mental state is you won't feel like, well, I can't go to Nobu until I have a boyfriend. I can't get myself a fancy dress, or I can't feel what it's like to wear a fancy dress until I have a boyfriend buy one for me. I'm not going to experience what it's like to be in a nice candle-lit bubble bath, have that warm water touching my skin until I have a man to do that for me. Same thing with the romantic dinner and the vacation. All of these things, right? It'll put you in such a desperate mind state where you're like, I'm so desperate to experience the princess treatment because I've spent so long not being treated like it. I want so badly to experience a vacation. I need to be with a man so he can take me. That state of being will not attract the type of treatment that you want. You need to be in a state of being that is, I am already living as a princess. If you want to come into my life and you want to add to that princess era that I'm in, however the kids say it now, then you can come in my life and add to that. But whether you're in my life or not in my life, I will still be a princess, and I will still live the life of a princess. Whether it's you treating me like that, my father treating me like that, or me treating me like that, or all three treating me like that, right? I will still live in princess land. And it's very important that you don't get into your relationships or your talking stages from a place of lack where you're desperately saying, I can only experience what it's like to be a princess if a man shows that to me. Reason number 9, we're going to talk about sprinkling. Not that type of sprinkling that might come to your mind. This type of sprinkling where, see, some women aren't good at being able to sprinkle their desires into the relationship that they're with a man to help him understand what they really consider princess treatment. Because the reality of it is, yeah, there will be some things that are universal to a lot of women of what they think princess treatment will be. But there will also be certain aspects of princess treatment that will be very unique to you because of what you enjoy and what you like. For example, some girls or all girls might say princess treatment is a guy going out of his way and getting me flowers, but you might specifically say it's not just getting me flowers, it's getting me these very specific purple tulips that are my favorite tulips of all time, and they smell so amazing, right? So the reason I say that is because you can't be in a state of demanding and saying, I need you to do this for me. You have to treat me this way. You have to do this. You have to act like this. You have to talk to me like this. I need this to happen. That will not get you the response you want. That won't get you the princess treatment you want, and you're already in the wrong place if you feel the need to demand that. What I want you to do, even when you're with the guy who has the ability of giving princess treatment and wants to do that, if you're going to do this properly in order to get your desires met uniquely, you want to figure out how to sprinkle things into your relationship so that he can learn your desires and serve you and treat you like a princess because that's what he wants to do. So a perfect example of that is, let's say you're watching a movie. And in this movie, let's say one of the characters gives someone else those same purple tulips that you really, really, really love. And this is a moment where you can say, oh, perfect. Now that we're both here watching this movie, I'm not going to direct this at him, but I'm going to give him a little bit of a taste and understanding of what my desires are uniquely and how I would love to be treated as a princess. So in the moment where the character is giving the other character those purple tulips, you say, oh my God. You pause the movie if you have to. Oh my God. I might start crying. You could be over dramatic with, I might start crying. Oh my God, is there a tissue? Oh my God. And he's like, what's wrong? What's going on? I'm just telling you, those purple tulips, oh my God, I love those purple tulips. They're so beautiful. And if a man literally showed up to my door with those purple tulips, I think I would literally melt. I think I would cease to exist. Oh my God, get me the tissue right now. This is how you have to do this, right? See, I know it sounds super overdramatic and super silly, but you have to understand you're psychologically stamping this moment in his mind because he's like, why is she reacting like this to purple tulips? That is an insane reaction. But it also helps to remind him when he's at the store and he's thinking to himself, I want to do something nice for my woman. What can I do something nice? And he's walking by the store and then he walks past the flower section. He goes, what was that flower she was really saying that she would die for? And she was so dramatic about what? The purple tulips. This is exactly how you end up getting what you want in a way that allows him to do some figuring out, put some things together, right? Put two and two together, and then also serve you, give you princess treatment without you having to demand it. But all you do, instead of demanding it from him, is you stamp different moments in his mind, right? And this is something you continue doing over the course of time in your relationship. You take different periods in which you see something that you know you would love to receive from him, and you stamp it in his mind. Oh my gosh, those flowers are the exact flowers I would love to be gifted if a man showed up at the door. Even if you do the same thing every time it happens, right? Every time you see those flowers in a movie or in a TV show or someone walking with them, you continuously remind him how much you love those purple tulips. You stamp it in his mind. I don't care if you have to say it 100 times throughout the relationship, because you want to know what will happen down the line when someone says, hey, what would be the best way to make your wife happy or to make your girlfriend happy? What would she love for you to just pop up with if you could pop up with anything right now? The first thing that's going to pop up in his mind is, I'll pop up with those purple tulips, and I know she'll love it because she says it all the time. And you want to know who ends up being happy? You. Reason number 10, we're going to discuss smothering, because princess treatment really is a state of being. You cannot be smothering your man emotionally and expect him to be able to give you princess treatment. It's also a state of being for your man, because in that state, he will say, I love and cherish my woman so much that I want to go above and beyond for her. So you have to understand, like, because of perception and because of the role perception plays in his approach to you in this relationship, there are certain ways that you keep control of your perception as a princess, which means there are certain things that you don't want to be doing because it's not going to show you or make you look like a princess. It's not going to paint that picture of you that you want. And it's also going to begin emotionally smothering him, not allowing him to say, I cherish this woman so much, I want to go above and beyond for her. So what are some examples of some don'ts? Spam texting. Spam calling him. What I mean by spam text, spam calling him, you know when you're like questioning where he's at or what he's doing, and you're thinking that spam calling or spam texting is going to help you get answers any sooner, quicker, or more efficient. If he's not answering you, it's for a reason, okay? And if he's choosing not to text you and you're suspecting that maybe he's doing something suspicious, let him go ahead and do something suspicious. Because when you catch him doing something suspicious, it will be dealt with then, rather than spam calling or texting, right? I'm so bored without you. Trying to basically convince him or show him how your life has no meaning, no value, nothing interesting is happening when he's not in it. Overstaying your welcome, this is a big one. If you're a princess and you really want your man to give you princess treatment, you have to be hyper aware of when it is time for you to exit stage left. Especially at the very beginning of your relationship and as you're growing in your understanding and comfortability being around each other more and more, you do not want to find yourself in a position where you're like, hey, I'm going to sleep over on Tuesday. And then I'm going to sleep over on Wednesday, and then I'm going to sleep over on Thursday, and then I'm going to sleep over on Friday, and every single day that you wake up to go to work during the week, I'm going to be there, and I'm never not going to be there because I like you so much, I want to be there every day and every second. That is not going to put him in the right headspace to begin to give you princess treatment. I'll also say begging for his time, but what I want you to understand with each one of these, because there's a lot more, right? What I want you to understand with each one of these is you don't want to become so mundane, so regular, so annoying. And I don't mean annoying in the sense that you're doing anything wrong, but part of being smothering becomes an annoyance, right? You become a burden, you become a nuisance, you become like a gnat flying around. You don't want to be that, because that perception of you in a man's mind is going to make him say, why am I treating this girl like a princess? She's an annoyance to me. You want to give men emotional space to come to you, to reach out to you, to tell you how much they miss you, to tell you how much they want you, right? So you also have to get very good at gauging, okay, is he desiring me right now, or is he starting to inch towards a place of contempt? I'm telling you, just being honest with you, that is going to be kind of an emotional roller coaster, right? Guys are going to go through their phases of really desiring you, and then there's going to be a point where they're kind of a little bit more in contempt. And you want to make sure you gauge before it goes too far down into contempt that you kind of remove yourself from his presence and you go do something else so that his desire for you can raise up back again. Some women who don't receive princess treatment make this mistake of not managing that roller coaster, and they just become like a nuisance or an annoyance by trying to be present every second of every day all the time, and then they never end up getting princess treatment.